Okay guys, I wanted to show you a wiring harness that I've created that will allow you to add the DL3 mirrors to your 2015 through 2019 GM full-size SUV. The harness will bring the turn signal, puddle lamp, auto dim, and power folding features out to the mirror. And to do so, it requires a wiring harness that I'll create and then the two correct switches. And to be clear on this will work for vehicles that already have the memory feature present. That RPO code is A45. And if you want to verify that you have that, obviously if you have seat memory, then you do. It'll also be on the RPO label in your glove box. And that code, again, you'll look for A45. So really all you'll need to do is you'll swap in the correct power fold mirror switch, the correct passenger window switch, the wiring harness, and obviously the DL3 mirrors. And this will work for the regular, the smaller size DL3 mirrors that you typically find on the GMC Yukon and Chevrolet Tahoe Suburban. And it also will work for the larger Escalade style mirrors that have the larger mirror surface area, and we'll get all those features to work with the exception of the blind spot indicator. That requires additional wiring inside the vehicle, module programming, and additional hardware in the rear bumper of the vehicle to enable that functionality. So what I'll do is I will kind of get set up and I will show you how, show you where and how to land these wires and so that you can get the mirrors installed and up and running. Okay, so there are 4 places that you're going to need to land these wires, 4 different places. First is going to be the door connectors, or the connectors that go to the door wiring harness. These are on the body of the vehicle, and when you open your door, if you remove the boot that goes between the door and the body and then release the connector, you'll see this is the other half to it here. And so what you will do is these four wires here will actually land in this connector. These 2 wires over here will land in the connector on the passenger side here. The remaining sets of wires, the yellow and black wire are going to land in the X61A junction block, which this is one here. It is located in the footwell on the driver's side of the vehicle between the brake pedal and the outside kick panel of the vehicle. Is where that is, and then the remaining wires here, you're going to land them in the BCM, and it is typically just above the brake pedal or just above the X61A junction block, and it's kind of turned like so. So when you're in the footwell and you look up, you'll see these different color connectors here, and and you'll land these wires in here. So now I'm going to get set up on a different rig, and I will actually show you how to land each set of wires in the connectors. All right, so first let's look at landing these 4 wires here in the driver's side door connector. GM also calls this the X500. This is one half of the connector, and this will be the piece that will be sitting in the cavity on the body side of the vehicle. To actually land these terminals in this connector, what you'll need to do is you'll need to release the TPA, and as you can see, it's this magenta colored piece here. It's called the terminal position assurance piece, and if you can notice, it's kind of recessed down into this cavity here. If you look on the bottom side, you can see that it's flush. All you need to do is take a small screwdriver and press it up like so, and it'll actually be flush here, and that will release it so that you can insert terminals into the back of the connector. Now, I do want to stop here and have you guys make note that it is extremely important that you insert this terminal in the right position, because the only way to remove these terminals from this connector is with a specific tool that runs around $80 to $100. Another thing I wanted to note is GM does have the numbers on the back of the connector for us, which is great. I tried to put a little white paint pen on them to help them show a little better. I don't know how well these are showing for you, but just to show you how they're oriented. So this cavity here, this is position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Up here in the corner is 41. And so the main positions we are concerned with for our harness here is going to be position 3, 5, and 6, and 41. So as mentioned earlier, we've got our TPA released. And so what we will do is you'll take the gray wire and it will actually insert into position 3. And so you'll hear that click. And as you can see, it's now landed in there. And then you'll also do the same here for 5 and 6. 41 goes up here to the top there. We'll go ahead and land these two. So yellow will go into position 5 and black will land in position 6. So once you've got those in there, once you've got those landed, you can then take your tool and lock in the TPA. And all you'll simply do is with the other harness here is you will piggyback this on there and tape the harnesses together, and then you can then take this piece and fish it back up into the doorway. And what you'll do is you'll seat it. You'll seat it on these little hooks here on the sheet metal, and then you may have to take like a long screwdriver or tool to push from inside the footwell, and you will rotate it forward, and then this will come through and catch and click there, and then you'll be done with installing the terminals in the X500 connector. All right, for the next step on the install, we're going to be landing the yellow and the black wire in the X61A junction box located in the driver footwell between the brake pedal and the outside of the vehicle. It's going to be situated, I know this is partly out of the frame, but it's going to be situated at an angle, kind of like so. And as you can see, there are 3 mounting points. Those are 10mm nuts. You're going to need to remove them for 2 reasons. One is to be able to run the harness is actually designed to run behind it, as well as to access the connector for the yellow and the black wire. So to start, what I would recommend is remove this cover, and to do so, you'll notice there's a lever here, and if you look on the side, there are, I don't have it on there, but you can see there are two tabs that hook here and here on it. So you'll release those and you will depress this tab and pull the cover off out of the way. You will see the junction block with a number of connectors depending on your options. This one will not be present, and I actually use it to allow you to add factory fog lights and you using the factory switches and controls to your vehicle. And I've got a separate video on that. So back to installing these wires here. So once you remove the cover, go ahead and get your 10mm socket and remove all 3 of these. There will also be another wiring harness that comes down through here and turns. There's a green connector right here. I would recommend disconnecting that, and you'll see there's a couple of tabs they're going to be holding that wiring harness in here. So I would go ahead and kind of get that released. Remove this from from the cavity, and you'll notice that there is this is another TPA. In this case, it's blue, and you're going to need to release this, which is really just partially lift this up. You'll notice these little guys here, they're going to sit in between there, and there's 4 of them here. But you're going to need to get that up so that you can then insert into 9 and 10. To release the TPA, it's actually simple. You just got to be careful. Again, small screwdriver or pry tool. All you're going to do is you're going to pry up, and you're just going to have to do it a little bit at a time to get it to move, because you don't want to, you don't want to break these. So as you can see, I'm just doing a little bit at a time. You want to try to get it to move evenly. that will certainly help make it go smoother. There we go. All right. So you just want to make sure it's in the second. To insert these, they're only going to go in one way. So if you try to insert them wrong, it will certainly stop you. So make sure your TPA is up, and black goes in number 9. And so as you can see, I put it in upside down on purpose, and see it will not let me go forward. So I'm going to rotate it over, and you hear it click in place. Same thing, the yellow goes in position 10. You'll hear it click in place. Now, once you're done with that, you can then seat the TPA back down. Just make sure, use some even pressure, make sure it's down fully. You will, if you did remove the lever like I did, you'll simply just put it back in place. Make sure that it's seated like that. Then, you can strap this or attach this to the, because there will be an existing harness coming off of this connector. You'll then insert it back, and as you push it, you'll see the lever release and start to move, and then you can simply pull it all the way down like so and lock it in place. All right, next we need to land the green, blue, and gray wire into the BCM. It'll be these wires here, and the green will land in the black connector, the blue will land in the brown connector, and the gray will land in the gray connector. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to remove, I just work on one connector at a time. What I would recommend doing, as you can see, the tape is up pretty close to these connectors here. So you can take a blade and, open this up a little bit. Just to give you a little bit of working room. I would certainly recommend doing so. Just make your life a lot easier. The connector you'll pull it out, you'll probably be down like so. So I'm gonna try to mimic the tight space you're gonna be in. So the wire that we want to, that we wanna access here is this green wire. There is a violet stripe on it. What we'll need to do is we will remove the factory terminated wire from the cavity here, and we'll actually get to hook it in with our harness here. So to do that, you probably noticed, so there is this little white piece here, that is a TPA. The brown one, in this case, is black. So if you notice, there's a couple of notches. You can take your little pry tool or screwdriver, and you want to get in there, and it'll pry just a little bit, and so if you can see it, but it's raised up just a bit. And what we're gonna do is then we're gonna insert our screwdriver in here, and that's gonna allow us to pull the terminated wire out. All right, so back to removing the green wire from the black connector. So you'll make sure that your TPA is released, and you'll notice it's going to be the green wire, and so it's in position 3. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be this spot right here. And if you look, I might be able to get it on video, but yeah, you can kind of see it moving. But you can also verify by grabbing the wire and kind of pushing and pulling, and to verify that you're in the right spot. So to release this terminal from this particular connector, the tang is actually going from left to right. So you're going to insert your screwdriver and you're going to rotate like so to release it. And I'll show you why on the connector itself. So the top part is where the blade and the BCM lands. This cavity right here is where you're going to insert your small screwdriver to remove the terminal. And so you'll kind of come in here, and then you'll just rotate and pull straight out. And the reason why, if you can see on the video, the terminal has a couple of tangs. There's one here and here, and so what you're doing is it's actually right in here is where it's catching. So you're rotating it by this. You're rotating it that way, and that removes it, so you can pull it out. So once you have the terminal out, what you'll do is you'll then take
from your harness here, you'll then take the green terminal and you're going to insert it. And again, it's only going to go in one way, but you're going to insert it in back into your BCM connector, like so, and you'll hear it snap in there. Then what you'll do is you will actually cut off this terminal, just cut it off right here, strip back, and you'll insert it into the barrel connector here and crimp down. Now these are heat shrink connectors, so if you wanted to, you could take a flame or a heat gun and shrink these around there. For the brown connector, the TPA same is going to release the same exact way. Same situation here. I would kind of cut a little slit on your tape. Just be careful you don't cut into any of your wire. You probably need to go back, I don't know, just a couple of 3 inches, really just as enough so that you can have enough working room. But once you peel your tape back, you're going to be looking for, on the brown connector, it's going to be the blue wire with the white stripe, and that is position 2. Again, that's labeled position 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see the 1 and the 4 on the tabs there. And what you're going to do is you want to fish out the blue wire with the white stripe and make sure you've got a hold of it. And you're going to do the same thing here, where the blade on the BCM goes into these flat areas, and you're going to insert your screwdriver to pull back the tang so you can remove the terminal. So we're in the second spot, and you can again look as I'm pushing and pulling the wire. You might even be able to see the tang on this one, but same scenario. Going to insert the screwdriver, rotate it to the side, and then just pull the wire out of the back of the connector. There we go, like so. Then, just like you did with the green, you're going to take the blue connector, or the blue terminated lead. You're going to insert into the BCM, and you'll hear it click in place. You'll secure your TPA. You'll take the blue wire that came out, and you will, just like you did with the green, you'll clip off the terminal, strip back a little wire, and you will insert in the barrel into the barrel connector, and you'll crimp it down there. Okay, and for the gray connector, you'll remove it. It'll probably come down and be oriented. You'll probably be looking at it like this. You'll make sure that you use your screwdriver and release the TPA. In this case, it's just got the one slot there to get it to release. And then I would recommend, again, just like the other ones, I would cut a slit in your tape. You may not need to, since the only thing we're doing on here is just inserting wire. Luckily, there's not one to remove. It's going to be, you're going to be in position 8. And if you look on the back, yeah, we can see that there. So there's 1, 3. So as you can see, there's 3 cavities up top, 1, 2, 3. And then cavity 5 starts on the second row. So it goes 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So as you can see, 9 is this yellow wire, 8 is the one just next to it that's empty. And so if you look, it's going to be the second row and 1 end. So on this side, there's our first row, here's our second row. So it's going to be this cavity here. Again, so I've got my TPA released. So you'll orient the terminal to go in the cavity, and you'll push it all the way in until it clicks. And you will then go close your TPA, and you can then reinsert that back into your BCM. Okay, so that completes the installation of the harness at the BCM. All that's left to do is you will route the harness from the driver's side behind the center console across over to the passenger side. GM does recommend, what you'll do is there is a black, is basically a beauty or a sound deadening cover that is located in the passenger footwell, and it's kind of covering the HVAC plenum. There are a number of 7mm screws that are holding it up to the HVAC plenum, and you'll need to get in there, remove those, and drop that down, and that will allow you to fish the harness all the way over to the passenger side, and you can secure it and then hide it with the beauty cover. And so next we'll get these installed, and we'll be done. Okay, so to access this connector on the passenger side, which GM calls the X600 connector, it's going to be very similar to the driver's side. Same tabs here. You'll depress and push in. It'll kind of rotate down, and then from the in the footwell, you'll look up. It's going to be a little harder to see because the blower for the HVAC is kind of sitting down low. But if you'll get yourself a light, look in there, you'll see the connector, and there is it's like a little wire retaining clip that's on the existing harness that's up in there. You can take the harness and pull and cause that that little clip to come to release, and then you can then pull the harness out along and fish the connector out all the way out down into the footwell in the passenger compartment, so you can work with it. So here I've already got the TPA released. It's level with the top up here, as you can see, pushed in from down there, and pretty easy here. You're going to put this in position 3, and again, remember these are numbered exactly the same as the X500 on the driver's side. It starts with 1 and it goes over to 2, and then 3 starts there. So 1, 2, 3. Again, you're going to put the gray wire in position 3, just like you did over on the driver's side. And then the green wire is going to go in position 41, which is up in this top corner here, just like you did the blue wire on the driver's side. So once that's completed, you'll then just secure it back to the factory harness with the rest of the wires that are coming out of here with some tape. You will fish this back up into the cavity, and you'll hook these on the sheet metal. Again, I would take a long screwdriver or something to give you some leverage, and you can push it up, and then these will catch into the on the sheet metal on the body, and then you can reattach the door connector. After that, you'll want to make sure you secure the rest of this harness up to the HVAC plenum, and then you can then reinstall the beauty cover with the 7mm screws, and you'll be finished. All right, folks, I wanted to thank you for watching the video. I wanted to make sure I covered how to install each of the 4 sections of the harness, and if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments.